When somebody gets stressed, the greater the stress, the greater the pest. And I made that up in the 6th grade, and that's a natural law. You know, same thing with humans. When you're stressed out, the more stressed out you are, the more things are going to be attacking you, the more bugs or whatever disease is. I say bugs because you do get attacked by a lot of bugs. So, and that's a natural law, and that's the key. You can't ignore the health of your soil and try to control the ants. It is not going to work. So that's why I say it's like a consciousness snake, because a lot of people come to me when they're sick. I can't spray anymore, and the ants are still here, you know. And then it's almost too late. It's really a very simple steps to controlling the ants. First thing you want to do is you want to take a look at your property. You want to see is what is it that I'm doing that's good for my property, and what is it I'm doing that's bad for my property. And of course, the things that you're doing bad for your property, city water, for example, is very bad because they got chemicals in the city water that kills the bacteria. So every time your sprinklers goes on and you're watering, it's destroying the balance of the soil. And then you go on and get some chemical fertilizer. That's even worse. Chemical fertilizers are basically a salt. It's some type of salt, okay? The way the Romans, when they conquered the country, they would salt the land to stop it from growing. So we do it ourselves because chemical fertilizers, that's what they do. They destroy the balance of the soil. On top of that, to make it worse, chemical fertilizers have urea. You all know what urea is? When you buy chemical fertilizer, you have these 3 numbers. The first number is nitrogen. And they usually get that from some form of urea. Urea, basically, there's 2 types of urea, natural and inorganic. The urea resembles urine, which means animal urine, see? That's a natural source of urea. Whereas the chemical urea and the natural urea is like maybe 111 if you wanted to give it a number, not even that. Whereas the chemical urea is 4500. 45% of that is nitrogen. Okay, and this is a chemical nitrogen. The first day I went to college, very first day, the teacher said there's no difference between chemical nitrogen and organic nitrogen. Excuse me, first day. And I was arguing with the teacher ever since then, and I have a BA degree now, but I didn't get it from him. I knew more than the teachers, and I fought with them all the way. The teachers, I kept telling the teachers, you need to be open. You need to tell people, yes, there's 2 ways of doing this. You can't tell them that chemical is it. As a matter of fact, I did a famous 10-acre test. I told the teacher, okay, I'll take 10 acres of corn and you take 10 acres of corn and we'll grow it and we'll see what happens. And of course they want it right next to each other. I said, no, mine's going to be 10 miles away from you because I don't want it right next to you because the chemicals just drift over, you know. There's just the wind. It depends if you're unlucky that day, the wind will come over and that you have the chemicals. And we grew 10 acres of corn, a few people with me, and the teacher did his thing. And this is the way you can tell what's happening. Cows got loose 1 month. And they went right by his cornfield. They walked the 10 miles to my cornfield. Every single one. Not one cow was in this guy's cornfield. They walked right by the street in front of him, looked at the corn, kept on going, went to my cornfield. And I know I told the teacher, do you need any more proof? Anyway, what was I talking about? Ants. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to walk around. You want to get some idea. I call it on the ant trail. You want to follow the ants, walk around, see where they're coming in your house from, because they'll have little definite paths that they get into the house. Ants have a little meeting like we do. Let's go to Georgette's house, and this is where the food is at. Go over here to this place. I mean, they're not stupid. You know, people think that because they're creatures, it's stupid. They're not. I give talks to kids all the time. 10th grade, 9th grade, 6th grade. And one kid says, my dad says, wherever you see an ant, grab their legs, tear them apart, kill, 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 kill. I'm going, oy vey. So you want to follow the ants. You want to see what the ants are doing in your property. There's a law of cause and effect. I don't know if I told you that, but that's another one. It's really a scientific law, but I kind of made it up a little bit because it has to do with, you know, if you eliminate the cause, you eliminate the effect. Seems obvious to me, right? You know, I wasn't so hard. So in the 6th grade, I did my famous IQ test. They wanted to see they gave you an IQ test. I was like 200 IQ or something. The guy says, you're off the chart. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make an IQ test and see if you take it, and they failed it. So I said, I guess you guys are stupid. I told them, if you go to Africa, you get an African to make you an IQ test, they'll fail it. So what's the IQ? So anyway, like I said, I can ramble. You want to find out what's going on in your property. It's very important. A lot of times, your neighbors is your cause.